All right. So it's just a few minutes past. Still have a few people coming in, but I think if you're ready, I'd like to introduce Lucy, um, who's a member of the EPO, the Education and Public Outreach here at Green Bank, and we'll be giving a talk today about the current guidelines of face mask recommendation by the WHO and what you can do yourself at home. So
Yes.
when you're ready, take it away.
Yeah, so I was planning on having a like a The Who background, but my background thing doesn't work so well because I'm very, very pale and Zoom always thinks that my wall and my face are the same thing. So that it's just a cross I have to bear. So I did a talk on this a couple months ago, couple weeks ago, couple years ago. I don't know. The time seems to not exist anymore, but that was before the WHO, the World Health Organization, did this big study where they had people wear all sorts of different kinds of masks and then blow into petri dishes or whatever. And they came out with new recommendations. So, excuse me. Originally, the recommendations were just 100% cotton. It's breathable, but it's, you know, a good fabric. I don't know. But we do have some updated guidelines. So the updated guidelines are that you want 3 layers. The first layer, which is closest to your face, should be cotton, 100% cotton. And that's because cotton is 100% hydrophilic. So it's going to attract all of the water molecules that come out of your face, right? So we want this to catch the water molecules or the spit molecules or the COVID molecules that are coming out of your face. And a hydrophilic fabric will do that. Because that means the philic means friend and hydro means water, so it's friendly to water, it attracts water. The outside layer should be a hydrophobic fabric. So I've got my hydrophobic fabric right here. This is a polyester blend. But yeah, polyester, a lot of like sports fabrics, that sort of thing. Polyester blends are all hydrophobic. And what that means is they repel water, right? So if you're wearing, if you're going out for a run, you don't want a hydrophilic, water-friendly shirt, right? You don't want to be wearing a cotton shirt because then it's just going to get soaking wet and you're going to feel gross because you're sweating so much because you're doing a really fast run. I don't know, I don't exercise. But if you're wearing like a polyester shirt or like a sports shirt, that's going to repel water. So it's not going to get as wet. It's not going to absorb that water and it's not going to feel as gross. Same thing goes for fabrics. So if someone gets too close to you, which they shouldn't, but if they do, you want a hydrophobic or scared of water fabric to repel some of that water. And then you want a third fabric in between. And that third fabric should be a non-woven fabric. So right here I have just interfacing. So interfacing is a type of fabric that is used to strengthen other fabric, right? So you'll usually iron it on and then it sticks and then you get like a tougher sort of fabric that won't fall apart in the washing machine. Now, this can also just be used as normal fabric. but you can tell, I don't know if you can, but it's non-woven, which means that it's not knit and it's not like a weave, right? It's just smushed together and very thin. So like paper, coffee filters, felt. You don't want to make a mask out of felt because you do sort of want to be able to breathe. Are all examples of non-woven fabrics. Now, I've seen a lot of people on the internet, there's a lot of drama going on because some people are saying on the internet that vacuum cleaner bags are a good third layer, a good inside layer. And that would be true if they didn't have plexiglass in them, right? So plexiglass is not something you want near your lungs. So I would not suggest cutting up any vacuum cleaner bags and using them for this layer. Interfacing is pretty cheap. You can get it for like 50 cents a yard. If you don't have it and don't feel like buying it, there is another option. So this is a finish mask, but if you didn't sew this side sort of pocket, you just left it so it's 2 instead of 1. You can slip really anything in there. So paper towels are good filters, coffee filters. I wouldn't suggest like tissues or anything like that, but any sort of non-woven, comfortable fabric is going to be good for this purpose. So you have your cotton, you have your polyester, and you have your non-woven filter. And I am going to share my screen for a second. And y'all will get to see all the crazy help desk tickets that I have. But this is the face mask pattern that I use. And I talked about this a little on my last presentation, but I really like this pattern because it is very uncomfortable to wear incorrectly. So I'm sure whenever you guys go to the grocery store, you'll see people wearing masks with their nose sticking out, which doesn't make any sense. It's not how you should wear a mask. It's not how anyone else is wearing a mask. But you want the mask to cover your nose and your mouth and go and fit comfortably around your face. And this does a pretty good job of it. And it doesn't feel right if you're holding it beneath your nose. It feels correct when it's above your nose. I also really like this pattern because I have glasses and I do not like it when my glasses fog up. So because this fits so close into my face, I can put my glasses below it, and then they won't fog up, which is really nice because I like to be able to see. So you've cut out all of your fabric. I'm very proud of you. You're going to pin your nose part together on each fabric. So we've got like so, it's pinned. And then I like, this is not necessary, but it makes it easier to pin the interfacing to my outside layer. You can also pin it to the inside layer, or you can just do it straight. But, sorry, there was a fly that flew into my face and it distracted me. But this just makes it easier to put everything together at once. So this one has 4 layers that I'm going to sew through. This one only has 2. That's okay. So we're going to sew the nose part. I like to sew this twice, do a double stitch, because this is where the stress is going to be. All my engineers in the audience will know that this is going to cause stress, and you don't want your mask to rip because then it's not doing anything for anyone. So you sew that, and then you're going to want to turn them like so and start pinning. Now I went over this last time, how to pin these. I'm not going to do it again. I'm sure there's a recording of that somewhere, but you're going to pin it so that it's not inside out, so that you can see your pencil marks on both sides, like so. And then get some ribbon. I like using ribbon because that means I don't have to make my own ribbon. I like to do as little work as possible. And you're going to want to pin them inside. So this is the inside where you can't see any of my pencil marks. And then I'm going to pin this right on top. And this means when you turn it inside out, the ribbon will be outside of the mask instead of inside of the mask. Now, when you're looking in stores for face masks, you want to look for at least 3 layers. There are some double layer ones, there's some single layer ones, they're not going to do much. And one of the tests you can do for any mask that you have at home is put it on. I would not suggest doing this to a mask in the store because you might have to buy it. As you tie it on, and then you get a lighter or a match. I am currently very concerned that I'm going to be recording burning down the townhouses, but I would suggest doing this outside with some water, but I don't have internet outside. And then, if you can blow it out, it's not a good mask. This is a good mask because I'm blowing as hard as I can. And it would not go out because of the blowing. It went out because it ran out of stuff to burn. Also, these are pretty cheap matches. This works with a lighter. I wouldn't suggest using like the big lighters because those are harder to blow out. But that's a good way to tell how much of your gross breath, your germy breath, will get out of your mask. Because you want to catch as much of that stuff as possible. These non-medical masks are designed, they're going to increase the protection for you. But the only way you have like complete protection is with an N95. And those are still, we still have a shortage of those. So I wouldn't suggest going out and buying a bunch of them because they should go to people who are on the front lines in hospitals and that sort of thing. So I'm very proud of myself that I didn't burn anything down. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or stick them in the chat. I have been making these for the hospital. I've made over 100. So if you want the sort of original tutorial, I'm pretty sure was recorded. Jesse, do you like have that? I'm pretty sure that most of the people here saw that. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't have direct access right now, but we can also send a link out.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, you could do like a part 1 and then a part 2 because I left y'all on a cinematic cliffhanger of what is the WHO going to say about masks. The WHO also has a really good page that's just like dispelling a bunch of myths. about masks and about COVID itself. And one of the myths that I didn't know was a thing, but was that you do not want to be wearing a mask when you are exercising, because once you get sweaty, that sweat is hydrophilic, right? Water likes water. So that's going to actually increase the probability that you're getting infected, is if you get like a sweaty mask. So do not wear these when you're sweaty. Do not wear them when you're, exercising. I would suggest just not exercising near other people. That's a good compromise. But yeah, so when you're wearing a mask, you want it to fit tightly on your face. If it doesn't fit tightly, the germs are going to be able to get out, which is not what you want. You want them to be right next to your face, and then wash your face afterwards. Any questions, discussion, comments? I can keep talking, but.
Well, as people contemplate and decide what questions they might have, perhaps I'll kick things off.
Yep.
So this is a bit of a curious one. If at the beginning, WHO and the CDC were much more vague on the requirements for masks.
Yes.
And over time that has evolved to what you're talking about now. A lot of people who are in doubt of the usefulness of masks will talk about this and the fact that initially masks weren't recommended, now they are, and it puts doubts in their own heads. Do you have any thoughts or discussion point about what the
Yeah, absolutely. The CDC are nerds. They're nerds, and they don't want to say anything until they have data. Just like I'm sure most of the people here will get calls, for example, that say, hey, we want to know exactly what kind of aliens are on Venus. I heard that there are aliens on Venus, and I want to know every single kind of alien on Venus. And you're going to say, our astronomers at the Green Bank Observatory are going to say, we don't know if there are aliens on Venus. There probably aren't. That's a really fun chemistry question, but we just do not have the data to say, yes, there are aliens on Venus. Same thing goes for the CDC and the WHO. They did not have the data to say, wear a cotton mask or wear this kind of mask or wear that kind of mask. So they just said, maybe wear a mask. There's also been some drama going on because some members of the administration thought that wearing masks and suggesting that you wear a mask might cause more panic than necessary. So I know the CDC in particular didn't originally know if masks would work. So they were like, I mean, if it comes between causing panic and telling people and making a recommendation, I guess that they decided to not cause the panic, which didn't really work out, if y'all remember the state of grocery stores back in March. But yeah, so this is not just a what is best for like scientifically, it's also what is best sociologically. And I might not agree with some of the things that have been decided in Washington and by the CDC and by people who and by the people who are telling the CDC what to do. But I mean, we have our recommendations from the WHO now. So the WHO is a little bit outside of that craziness that's going on in Washington. So I go to them for all of my COVID data and COVID information. I don't really mess with the CDC's website, and it's also a really bad website. Like the website is not navigatable. You can't navigate it. I don't know what the adjective of that word is, but I'm rambling a little bit, so I'm going to stop talking.
Well, we
Yeah,
have one
so
question.
yeah, so Dustin, I have figured out that when you're wearing your mask, right, you're going to get a little bit of fog, but you're going to get a little bit of fog anyway. But if you have it as high on your nose as possible, and then your glasses are lower on your nose, that's going to reduce the amount of fog. This is what I've tested out and found works. If you're up here, the glasses are like right in where your right where the seam is. That's no good. But if they're down a little bit lower and there's more space between the seam and your glasses, that's going to work better. I think that the I don't know if you've been able to go on site, but they have on site when you like check in and do your temperature check, they have little anti-fogger wipes. I don't know if those work. I haven't really needed them, but you might want to try some of those out.
Okay, so this is mostly something you'd use with the handmade, homemade masks. Like the surgical masks, they're probably not going to work so well with glasses.
If you, I again put it right up
Right.
on the
Okay.
like above the bridge of your nose, and then your glasses down. I found that works. You might have a different nose shape than me, or be more of a mouth breathe. I don't know. I think it's going to be different for everyone, but.
Okay. Yeah, I have a really high prescription glasses, so
Oh,
it's a little bit hard to move them around sometimes. So
yeah,
I'll give it
I
a
feel
try.
you.
Though. Yeah. Thanks.
No problem. So Carla, the WHO is saying 2 meters. I did read a study that said that people were, they had like someone with COVID, and then they, took air samples like certain distances, and the maximum distance that they were able to get a COVID sample from the air was 16 feet. So that's a little scary. I don't think that anyone has come out and said that COVID is airborne, but it's looking a little iffy on that front. But I would honestly go with what the Green Bank Observatory is saying if you're doing anything on site. So I think Green Bank is saying 6 feet. So if you're doing anything on site, you are going to want to stay at least 6 feet away from people if you're not wearing a mask. Yeah. N95. Yeah, so when you are making your masks, there are patterns that will tell you to stick a little bendy wire or a pipe cleaner or something like that. Like the little bendy wires that you get at the grocery store, that you can use to tie up your vegetables or whatever. Those are apparently good for this. I don't particularly think that this specific pattern needs them because it's so like fit to your nose. But if you're just doing the like the pleated ones or something like that, I would suggest putting one of those in there in the seam. So what you would do is you would just, oh, maybe I should use this one. You would have your seam here. You'd flip it over. You'd have some extra seam allowance. You'd flip it over. Sew in a pocket where that wire can be, and then sew it on to the next layer. But the medical masks usually have some sort of wire in them. And I think he was asking about medical masks. So yeah, if you get it really close up to the top of your nose, so it's farther away from your mouth, I found that works. If you have it like really close down, let me see if I can get them to fog up. Yeah, so if you see, if it's too high up and it's right on where the seam is, that's what's going to cause the fog. You want some distance to allow the air to cool down before it gets to your glasses, and that's going to defogify, I would suppose. Carlo, is that a raised hand or a, you're doing a great job? I couldn't tell. Okay, thumbs up. Thank you. So how's everyone doing? How's your life going? Okay, got another thumbs up from Carla, and I'm sure you can see that he's giving you bunny ears. Okay. So that was really all of the data that I have to tell you guys. Again, you want 3 layers if you're making your own mask. If you are looking for a mask in the store, you still want 3 layers. I haven't seen any that are 1 layer cotton, 1 layer non-woven, and then 1 layer like polyester or whatever. I'm sure that they are being manufactured so they can put a little WHO approved sticker on their masks. But I just haven't seen them in stores yet. I'm sure you can find them on Etsy or whatever. But yeah, you're gonna want, when you're looking for a mask at the store, you're gonna want at least 3 layers. And depending on if you're more concerned about breathing out or breathing in, maybe that'll inform whether you want a cotton or a polyester. I might suggest getting a cotton one and then putting a polyester over it. You could do like a little layering situation. I haven't tried that, but it might look cute, might not look cute. I don't know. So Jesse, do you want to close this out, or?
Yeah, so I think if there are no other questions, any thoughts or concerns that anyone might have had when they were going into work or going shopping or what have you, then I think we can wrap this up. So yeah, if there are no final questions, then let's thank Luci and take care, everyone.
Thanks, Lucy.
Thank you all for coming.